Workplace ghosting, where job candidates and new hires vanish without so much as a call or email, is the latest manifestation of the unconventional labor market that's emerged as the Canadian economy recovers from the impact of the pandemic. Joining us this morning to take us through what's actually going on here and how employers can help prevent ghosting and keep potential hires engaged, i.e. around, is David King, Senior Managing Director at the recruitment and employment agency Robert Half Canada. Good morning, David. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you. All right, I didn't realize this was really going on. This is fascinating. For those at home that are in the same boat as me, what is ghosting when it comes to a company? What's happening here?
Well, as you described, essentially that the candidate who's potentially being considered for the role simply disappears or vanishes through the process. And right now, companies are indicating to us that 43% of them say it's happening more today than it did 2 years ago for various reasons.
How has the pandemic influenced this?
Well, I think a lot of people right now are taking stock of where their career is. It's kind of been in stall mode, if you will, for a couple of years. And as they're considering opportunities, they're looking at organizations that they may want to consider. It's also being driven, and one of the reasons why we're seeing ghosting is that some companies are indicating a fairly clear message of how they want people to return to the office. And that's really being debated by a lot of potential employees right now. The other thing that's happening is we have wage inflation. And so you have to make sure you've got a great offer on the table if you want to get great talent today.
So in terms of hiring people to your company, you know, it's been a long time since in-person interviews were consistent for obvious reasons. Do you think this is lending to the trend? Do you think it's easier for people to just ignore a company that they were talking to if it was just a virtual relationship?
Yeah, it's arguably a little easier to just disappear from somebody you've never actually met in person. However, it probably does have the same impact professionally. I mean, we want to make sure, obviously, that all professional relationships, both from the company side and from the potential employee side, are healthy. And so ghosting is not really recommended. But from an employee perspective, you want a couple of things to make sure are evident in that job opportunity. You want to have some efficiency in the actual interview process. Most candidates today have multiple job opportunities they're considering at the same time. So if you're an organization, you've got to have the right people in that interview process. It's got to be very efficient. It's got to move through decision-making very easily, because otherwise you will ultimately be ghosted.
You know, it's funny. For a long time in various industries, you know, you would talk to people going back 2017, 2018, even 2019, and they would say, it's tough out there. It's really tough out there. Would you say things have flipped? It's more of a candidate's market right now?
It's undoubtedly a candidate's market right now. I don't love the term war on talent, but someone did kind of say to me that the war is actually over and the candidates have won right now.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know, the reality is we have about 30% of potential candidates in the market today saying they're going to look for a new job in the first 6 months of this year. That's a lot of transition in the labor market. And at the same time, we have the lowest unemployment rates we've seen really in quite some time. We also have the wage inflation I mentioned. And so there's a lot of competing pressures in addition to this dynamic of whether or not employees will want to continue to have some sort of choice and flexibility on working remote. So there are a lot of factors coming into play as to why this is absolutely a candidate-driven market right now. And companies will need to respond accordingly, or else they will lose out on great talent.
Fascinating stuff, David. Great stuff. RobertHalf.ca is where you can find more info. David is the Senior Managing Director at Robert Half Canada. I appreciate you, David. Take care. Have a good day.
No problem. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
You too. You too. Fascinating subject. I had no idea this was even going on. All right, we're going to take a break. You know what is going on? Stanley Cup playoffs.